Okay, it is 12:05 or 12:06 now. I'm going to attempt to keep my eye on the waiting room too to let people in over the minute, but when I go ahead and get started, Miss Precious. So thank you all for joining me for our lunch and learn about making choice boards. I will have the sign in bit.ly available at the very end. So if you didn't get a chance to sign in for some reason, it's all right. You can do it at the end. So, oh goodness, I'm pressing the wrong thing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Hannah Teal. I'm one of the instructional technology coordinators. I focus K-5. And if you want to find me on Twitter, there's my Twitter handle. And then also, just so you know, there is an e-learning website. It's linked on the district website, but if you want to go to this bit.ly, you can get to it. The DCSD is capital, and that does make a difference if you type in the bit.ly, but just so you know that it's there. So a couple of reminders. One is that it's very important did not log in using home learning codes they need to for a couple of reasons. One, the home learning code makes it between, so if they have activity classes, they can move between them easily. And it also makes it automatically so they can't see each other's work, which is very important in the setting that we currently have, because you're starting to give like very specific feedback. You might be putting grades, and you don't want other classmates to be able to see the work that's being turned in. Now, if you do want your kids to be able to interact with each other, there is the blog feature in Seesaw. And that way they can like comment on each other things, and you can others think on each other's items, and you can decide what you want to move there. So if they create something or share a picture or something, you can do that. If you want more information about that, I would be happy to share more about the blog feature in Seesaw at a later time. I am working on giving principals a student activity report, and there's a way for us to know who has logged in that way and who hasn't. And hopefully that'll be coming soon. It's on my list of things to send. Another reason why those home learning codes are important, though, is because if in your settings in Seesaw, you have it set up for shared devices and not one-to-one devices, it'll make it so a kid they'll select their name each time instead of it just knowing that it's them, which can sometimes cause issues if children are not making good choices and selecting someone else's name and maybe putting something not nice, which sometimes happens, unfortunately. So that's why those home learning codes are so important. Another reminder is if you have not gotten an Apple Pencil, I'll add the information on the slide deck later for you to be able to see, and you will get access to this slide deck after this is over. That you can get one, and we're doing like drop off at your mailbox or drop off at your homeschool. So either one, if you want one, like I can't tell you exactly when you'll get it, but you'll get it soon. We're doing that, and you just have to become an Apple teacher and fill out this form. So today what we're going to talk about is choice boards. Even though sometimes the term choice board, I'm going to refer to the example that I do as a research board, because they don't necessarily have a choice. It's just the path of different resources that they view. So sometimes it is like you only select certain things on a choice board, which you could do, but a lot of times the choice boards that we see aren't necessarily a choice. They are just different resources in one place. So I'll give you a how-to. I'll go through with some of the tips that I found, and then I have some pro tips that I'll share at the end. And luckily, Seesaw recently did their own choice boards training for people, which I participated in, and I found some different ways to do it, not exactly like he showed, that I feel like works better for our devices and our kids. So, but that is there if you wanted to go see the other, like Seesaw did an actual PD on choice boards as well. So a lot of times people will ask, like, how can I have a lot of different multiple links in one activity? This is a way that these choice boards can do that. Sometimes it's a way to combine activities, so they don't have to go to, you know, this one link and then fill out a template and then go to another activity, view another link, fill out a template, and so on. It's a way to kind of combine them. And it helps to streamline activities. So especially for research, like the example I'm going to do today, they can work on it through the whole research project, fill out one template instead of, you know, going to so many templates. Something that I talked about last week too was trying to streamline your activities so students aren't seeing, I don't know, like 7 activities per day or more, because sometimes it can get a little bit overwhelming. So if there's any way that we can combine and make like 1 activity per week or make 1 activity per day, there are just different ways to kind of organize it. Sometimes just having a lot of activities can overwhelm your students. So, and also multiple choice boards, they can be used in one presentation. So like the one I'm going to talk about today, there are lots of different things they're researching, but there's technically only one presentation that they're viewing to see all of the different links. Now, here's just some different ideas that people have shared. This one's about comparing stories about the 3 billy goats gruff. Whenever they click on these, it actually takes them to 2 different videos of these texts. I'll show you one in my activity library in just a second. Here's one where they follow the arrows and view. Some of them are different links and some of them are different videos to learn about circles. This one is similar to the one that we're going to talk through today, and it's all about polar bears. So there's different books, videos, links about polar bears for them to learn different things. Then you can also organize it in different ways, like they have a video where they learn like a mini lesson, then they go to a website and apply it, and they apply it somewhere else, and then there's an extension to learn more about the topic. There's also this one where they have like a grow, apply, review. There are lots of different ways that you can organize it. There's even, this is one example that I found recently. Let me move this up because all of my Zoom things have gotten a little bit in the way of me being able to click. Okay, so this is one that I found that gives just basically different things they do for different days. So there's different slides, but then it goes like this one. It does have a game with a link attached, so the kids can click on a link this way. This one's a little bit different than the example that I'm going to show you, but I'm just trying to give you some ideas of like what we're going to go through today can help you to actually create. So just so you can see some of them too, I'm in my activities right now, and like I'll click on this counting coins one. So what you do is you put the link, like I'll share in a second, as the multimedia example. So then whenever students click on it, it takes them, well, this one's slightly different. It will take them to just a link, and then they have different videos that they will view. So it's just a different way for you to post different things. I've also seen some examples. I had a really hard time finding it. It was in the Facebook group that they have, where what they suggested was, especially for like kindergarten, you guys in the morning do all types of different songs, like an alphabet song, like a days of the week song, all of these songs. And a lot of times those songs are on YouTube. So you could even do like a morning meeting or morning message choice board where they go through all of those different things like you would normally do, and watch those videos for each day. I'm still working on finding the example, but that's what happens whenever you scroll through Facebook and don't actually save it whenever you see it. So those are some ideas, but what I'm going to do now is actually walk you through step by step how you make some of these choice boards. Now, I'm going to show you within Google Slides because it's just an easy platform where you can do almost anything. We're going to be publishing the slides, which we've talked about before when we shared about sharing multiple mini lessons about publishing slides. So we're going to do a publishing slides again, and you post them as multimedia instructions. Whenever you publish the slideshow, it's nice because you can actually continue to edit and it will update that link. So don't worry about, like, if you made a mistake, you can easily go and fix it, which is nice. And then students can click on it. Now, sometimes making these things from nothing can just take some time because you want them to look nice, and how primary teachers are, like, we like things to look pretty. So there is, in the slide deck that you'll get after this is over, there is a template link that has a lot of different things that I've found for you to use as a resource. So it has, you can actually click on all of these different things. It has some of these choice board templates that you can copy and paste into your own Google Slides. I also was trying to think through some other ideas, like if you wanted to make one where they click on different things per subject, you can make one like that. You could make one where one box was review, one box was new learning, and one box was extend. Then I feel like I had one more. You could do one where it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even though I have the arrows backwards. But you could put different things or different resources for them to click on for different days. Like I said, there are lots of different ways for you to go through this. And something I'll talk about later is the different graphic organizers that they can use to respond to. And at the bottom, there are actually different graphic organizers that you can use. So a lot of these resources I've tried to put in this so you'll have access to it later. So now what I've done is I ended up taking the 4-box one and I copied it into my own slide deck over here. And the example I'm going to walk you through today is going to give different research boards for the different animal classifications that students need to know for 2nd grade. So since this resource actually has like a slide for each of the animal classifications, I made the first slide like a how-to. So I just put each day you'll research different classifications of animals. I can't read the rest of it. Follow the numbers and the arrows to view different resources and then complete the template with what you learned. I would probably add some more details, but when I was making this example, you want to have that first slide ready to go before you press publish, because sometimes it'll, that picture doesn't want to update in Seesaw for some reason. So this is what they would go to know how to use it. So this is the example that I did on Tuesday for mammals, where they'll click through these different things. One is actually a video embedded. And I'm going to go to next one about reptiles. So like I said, I just copied the slide from that template that you're going to have access to. I pasted it into this slide deck. So now what I need to do is I need to find the different resources that I want to use. So you're going to want to think about the different things that you already use for research or for different things. So like if you have access to PebbleGo, you could put a PebbleGo link, or you could just search for like a kid-friendly website. I like using, and I'll share the some of the different like kid search engines with you. I like using this one called Kiddle. It just has like an extra filter and it's made for kids. So it kind of helps you weed through, like if I were just to go to Google by myself and type in like reptiles, sometimes if I put reptiles for kids, that'll help to to make it go down, but I just feel like a kid's search engine helps a little bit. So I'm going to put reptiles, and I'm going to put classification. Sometimes that helps with it. So then I can see it does, like, since it's a visual one, it has a lot more pictures. And I'm going to click on this one about, and this one I can see it's from National Geographic. So I like that one. I'm going to click on it. And this is one that I'm going to want my kids to look at. Now, what you need to think about is, what do you want the visual placeholder to be that they click on? So it can either be like one of the key pictures when they click on it, what they see, or I could take a picture of the National Geographic so they know they're going to a National Geographic website, and you're going to take a screenshot of that image placeholder that you want to use. So I'm going to use the picture right here. Remember to take a screenshot. It is Command-Shift-4, and then I drag it around what I want to use. I'm going to use this part right here. Takes my screenshot. It saves it to my desktop. And what I'm going to do is, got to move some of my Zoom windows, but when I go back to my slides presentation, I'm just going to drag from my desktop to the slides. Come on. And then it'll go there. Obviously, it's a little large, so I'm going to resize it so it is smaller for my box. That's good. So I have what they'll click on, what they'll see when they get to the slide. I go back to the website. I click on the link. I copy it. Go back to the slide presentation. When I have the picture highlighted, I'm going to click Insert Link up here. Paste the link in, press apply. Okay, I'm going to go through that a couple more times. So I know it's a lot of steps, but I'm going to continue to go through it. So then hopefully I go through it enough that you can see it. So I also like to, for research, use Discus, because it has just some good stuff. And I'm going to go to Learn 360, because that's one of the research things it has for early childhood and elementary.
Hannah.
Uh-huh.
While that's loading, real quick, something I accidentally discovered, because I don't know if you're like me, I was doing a lot of screenshots and they were going to my desktop and then I'd have to clean them off after I used them. When you take the screenshot, when it appears in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen for just a couple of seconds, if you right-click on it, you can copy it to your clipboard right there, and it doesn't go to your desktop. You have to use it immediately, but that keeps you from having to clean them all off later.
That is interesting. I have not done that. What I have been doing lately is there's a way, so my desktop on my computer is like really full of stuff. So, and somebody helped me discover recently that if like I right click when I'm on my desktop, I can select to use stacks. So it like miraculously orders all of it into so like whenever I do this, sometimes I use that. And what I've recently started doing is I just made a folder, and once it stacks all my screenshots together, I drag them all to a folder. But I like that idea. I'm going to try it in just a second. Okay, so I'm in Learn 360. I'm going to type in reptiles classification here. Maybe I'm just going to type in reptile. And then I'm going to filter by my grade. So here, what are reptiles? We'll do that one right there. And it's only 2 minutes, which is perfect. And You can like download the video, which is nice from here. But I'm just gonna press share for right now. And I'm gonna go to the link. I'm gonna copy it. Now, same thing. I'm gonna need some type of visual placeholder. I can either do this or up here. I'm gonna do this Learn 360 one. I'm gonna take a screenshot of the Learn 360. Go back to here. Oh, wait. I see it in my corner. I right-clicked. Save to clipboard. Go here. Paste. Whoop, I did it. That is a good thing. I always tend to forget about, like, I got to do it real quick. But thank you, Courtney. That's a good thing to know. I'll put it here. So I have my visual placeholder. I'm going to go back to here where, remember, I already got my URL. Probably whenever I would have more time, I'd probably end up downloading it and putting it on YouTube because that just tends to be an easier way for them to actually see the videos I found. But I'm going to go back to my slides. I have the picture I want it clicked on. I go to this insert link, paste the link where I want them to go to, press apply. All right, now for 3, I'm just going to go to good old YouTube. Now, like I said before, and we've talked about a little bit in some of the other Lunch and Learns, that you can, you can post your own videos on YouTube. So if you wanted to do like a mini lesson or something talking about the different classifications, you can do that. Upload it to YouTube, especially as unlisted, and then only your kids can see it because they have the link. So I'm going to click on reptile classification for kids. We'll do that. Now you are obviously going to want to like view these videos if you just pull them from YouTube before you put them in a slide deck for children. But I'm going to go to this one. Hopefully I'll press pause in time. I get to see it for a second. Pause. Okay, so there are a couple of things. You could either do like, I swear I pressed pause. There we go. You could either get the screenshot for the digital placeholder, or with YouTube, if you have it, you can actually embed it within the slide, which is what I'm gonna do. So this is the video that I want. I'm going to copy my YouTube link. I'm gonna go here, back to my slides. This time is slightly different because I'm gonna go to insert and I'm inserting a video. I say is this, if videos are in your Google Drive and you put them in here, they are supposed to play, but I know that they don't. We're trying filter or something. We're trying to get people to help to figure out the problem. But YouTube has been a tried and true way to make it so kids can see things. So hopefully we'll get that solved, but the video will play if you attach it through YouTube. So here's my video. It will be kind of in a small area for them to press play, but it's fine. And then I'll do it one more time. This time, let me see. Let me try this Animal Kingdom one. Let's see what's there. I always tend to forget about Discus, but it has just such good things in it. Oh, look, I can explore animals by group. Isn't that great? Amphibians, reptiles. I'll go to reptiles. Are you there? Okay, must be in reptiles. So then it just gives them a bunch of examples. That'd kind of be a cool thing for them to explore. Let me click on the reptiles. Oh, that looks nice. So reptile. And since, especially with how Discus is, you know, like these are reliable resources for your students to have access to. So I'm going to copy that. But before I do that, I need to have either one of the placeholders for them to click on. So I'm going to kind of do a mixture, I think. And I'm going to take my screenshot. I'm going to have it go over this school part and the reptile, have a mixture. I'm going to click in my corner, save it to my clipboard. And then I'm going to go here, press paste. Voila. Courtney, I might start doing that like all the time. All right, so here's my reptile picture. Remember, I have my link for that website copied, and this picture is highlighted here, and I'm going to press insert link, paste that link into there, press apply. So before I move on, does anyone want me to walk through that process another time? Or is everybody good?
I have a question.
Okay.
Is it not better to download the YouTube videos so that they don't get all the extra stuff, or is it just linking it is fine enough?
So I'll show you what it looks like whenever they like click in there. I like when the videos are downloaded. The only issue is like you can attach a downloaded video to an activity, but you can only attach one video. So this is just a way for them to have multiple ones.
Okay.
Hopefully one day we'll have it figured out so that the kids can view videos that are in your Google Drive, because they should be able to, but there's something blocking it from doing that. And then hopefully whenever that happens, it will be there. But YouTube at home, like it's still filtered for them. So even though they have access to YouTube, it's filtered. They can see uneducational things, but it does have a filter in it still. But it will play like within the slide. So I feel like it helps a little bit. This example, the video is kind of small, but you can put multiple videos on here.
Yeah.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, so is everybody good, I think, with the process of how you put the links and the different things in the slides? Okay, so now what you do to make it so your kids will have access within Seesaw is you're gonna go to File, Publish to the Web, and then I'm gonna press Stop Publishing because I've already published it, just so you can see it. So you go to File, Publish to the Web, Publish, okay. And then this publish link is the important thing. So I'm gonna say it one more time. File, Publish to the Web, Publish, and then this link right here is the important link for you to have for your kids. So once I have it published, I have the link, I'm going to go to Seesaw. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm in my activities tab. I'm just gonna go to my activity library because I'm gonna create an activity. I'm in my activity library. I'm in my library because I'm going to create a new activity. So I'm in my library, create new activity. I am going to title this as animal classifications. I would type very detailed instructions for my students in here. I'm not going to do that right now, but just you would type detailed instructions. Remember the text shortcut, so it will actually have pictures there if you want it to. And then where I'm going to put this is in the add multimedia instructions or example. So add multimedia instructions or example. Now this is the important part because remember I published it and I have a link. So in Seesaw, the item I'm going to attach to the multimedia instructions is a link. I'm going to paste my link in there, press the check. Now, this is important because it wants you, since it's from your Google Drive, to turn it into what it normally does with Google Drive things and turns it into a PDF that they can annotate on. We do not want to do that in this case. So ignore this and press continue. It's going to take it a second. So that's an important thing. You want to press continue. You do not want to listen to it when it tries to do something with Google Drive because we want it to stay a link. All right, so this is like the placeholder that they will end up seeing on the left-hand side in those multimedia instructions. We're good. We don't need to do anything else except for press the check. So you'll see my example is attached. It is a link, which is perfect. That is what I want. So once I've done that, I have my multimedia instructions attached. Then what you will want to do is you're going to want to add a template for the student responses. So basically the purpose behind this is in the link, that's where they're getting all of their different research resources, but you want them to do something with it. So a lot of times with students, I would have them make a research book, and you can actually make a template of a book for them to put the different things they learn about on here. Now, this activity, I would not have them do in a day. I'd probably have them do it in a week or maybe even 2 weeks. I mean, however long it takes to spread it out for them to work on. So I have my multimedia instructions link attached. Now I'm going to go to add template for student responses. It's going to be a drawing because then it gives me this screen that I can use to change this up. So on my first page, since I want them to make a book, I'm going to, I could put title, and then they could go in and change it, because basically you're just putting like placeholders for different things. And then I'll put author.
Hannah, I'm sorry, me again. Caroline Anderson texted me. She got kicked out and is in the waiting room. Can you let her back in, please?
She should be back in now. I just let somebody in.
I'm in now. Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I was trying to look at it, and it's just, I have my screen set up like it's pretty crazy looking. So I had to move it over a little bit, but I've been trying to keep an eye on it. But thank you for letting me know. I'm glad you're back. Okay, so on this drawing screen, I'm on this template, and a brief review for if you're not as familiar with this. The T is for them to type text. The microphone is for them to record themselves. The camera is for pictures, and then you can add shapes or backgrounds, which do have some lines and some different cool backgrounds you can choose from. And then on the bottom has some of the different pen tips. There's a highlighter. This is where they can actually select things. There's colors. And then over here are the different pages, and then I can add a page. So you can add all of the pages that you want in a book. If you'll see there's 3 dots on here where you can either duplicate a page or delete a page, just as a review for this if you're not as familiar with it. So for 2, on this page, we'll put this one as mammals. And then something that I like to do is I want to have a set space for like their illustration or a picture they found, and a place for them to put like their learning. So I'm going to add a shape like this. And I'm actually going to change the style. So it's blue right now because that's the color it's on. I'm going to change it to black, and then I'm going to change the size. And then I would put something here telling them like, put your illustration here, or like use the pencil to draw it. Just because I want them to have their illustration or their picture in a certain place. And then I'll put, for this book, I'm going to keep it real simple and just put, write 3 facts you learned about mammals. Now, a fun thing that I've recently discovered about Seesaw is that you know, you really can't do a whole lot to the style of the text. But what you can do is, like, I'm going to make it so it does not have a border. I'm going to change it to this feather one just because I want to. But now you can, like, change how big the box is. But what I have discovered is if I drag from the corner, I can make the text much smaller. I have to do that first, then I can, like, spread it out. So then what I can do, so since that's much smaller than I ever thought you could actually make the text be, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3. Let me change my style also, because I'm gonna make it so it's on the left. So then whenever they click on it, they can actually type in it, or if I have enough space, they can technically write on top of it if they wanted to. So you would go through this same process and make all of the pages for the book that you want them to create. And even though this is digital, technically, if you wanted them to like make their book, I mean, they can take a picture of some different things. So even if they draw their illustration on paper, they could take a picture and put it on here. So whenever you have finished the whole template with all of the different things you want them to include in the book, you're going to press the check. So as a review, I went to create a new activity. I put my activity name, I put instructions. You can put voice instructions, I'm not doing that right now, but the multimedia instructions is the presentation link from my research slides. And I attach it as multimedia instructions as a link. Then my template is like the book template that I want them to complete with what they learned. It could be graphic organizers. It can be all types of different things. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press save. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this to one of my fake students so you can see what it is like for them to complete this as a student. So I'm going to assign. Remember, with activities, you can choose to assign it to a whole class or a student, or you can even make it so I'm going to not do it to all of my kids. I'm just going to do one. There's also folders. It's just a way for you to organize it. So basically, whenever they submit something, it goes straight into a folder. I have a research folder. We'll put it there. Skills, you can attach skills. That is a whole other lunch and learn. And what I'm going to press is the check, because I already have the folder created. Now, remember, you can either assign it right away or you can schedule it. If you've not started to schedule activities, I strongly suggest it, because if you start putting way too many activities at one time out of order, it will get very confusing for your kids. But I'm going to assign it immediately, and I'm going to assign it to one class. I'm going to press no thanks. You can share it, and I strongly suggest sharing and adding things to the school and district library, but this is not complete. Yes, thank you, Denise, because yes, you can add line paper to the background, and then you could do the drawing. Like, there's so many different things that you could do. It just kind of depends on what you want. But that line paper, they have like the big lines, like with the dots in between, and they have like some smaller lines, but not too small. Also, as a side note, I know I've said this before, but if they don't have a stylus, strongly recommend they get one. There's also a YouTube tutorial where you can make one by yourself. And I've had somebody try it and says it works pretty well. So just styluses are good to have. All right, so I have assigned it. So I'm gonna go back to my class. You'll see it's here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to switch and share my iPad screen so you can see it like a child. I will say during the next couple of minutes while my iPad screen is what's being shared, I'm not able to see the chat and stuff as much. So if you have a question, just like unmute yourself so I can hear you. Courtney, I'll answer your question in just a second. So let me share my screen. I'm going to share my iPad. Okay, let me go here. Okay, so here is my iPad screen. And for those of you, just so you can kind of see, I am logged in using my home learning code. And my name is One. But you'll see in the journal, I only have access to one. Like I cannot see anything else unless like you tag multiple kids into something in a journal, then they can see that. But I can only see things that I am tagged in. You'll also see over here, if I click on those folders, I can actually look through my journal in a way where I can see it. Also, a side note for you and for your kids, normally you see this journal feed here, but there is a calendar and the kids can see what day. So like I turned in 2 things on Tuesday and you can see all of the things that are turned in. On the teacher side, you can see all of the students' things that are turned in by day. So it's just kind of another nice way to organize it. So I'm in as a student, but remember I was assigned an activity. I have a lot of activities to do. So the one that I'm going to do is this animal classifications one. I'm going to press add response. Okay, now you'll see that they could have just clicked the link in the corner, but if they like forget to do that, that's why those instructions are important. If they forget to do that, it's okay. They can press view instructions up here at the top. So whenever they go there, they can press the link in this area. So I'm going to press the link. Now you'll see I am here. I think I see somebody sent a chat. If you can just ask something out loud, if it's something that can't wait, just do that for me, please. This is the whole slides presentation that I shared. And I need to just click on it one more time. I don't know why it flipped. Come on, go this way. Oh, it's fine. And then whenever I click on it, I can go to the different ones. Don't be silly. There, I don't know why it turned around on me. So you can see here are the different slides. And here's the reptiles one that we've been working on. All I have to do is click on the picture. Now it does open it in a new tab. So like they have to go back to the tab before it to get to the next one. Then I click on this one. Now, one thing with Discus, at least, it just kind of depends on how nice the iPad needs to be. But like this took it to it. If you need the username and password for Discus, your media specialist knows it, or you can email me and I will give it to you. And your kids can log in using that username and password too, but this didn't even make me have one. I'm gonna go back to it. Here's my video. Now, this kind of goes through what we asked about earlier. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole video, but you see that since I have it within the slide, it's going to play it within the slide. Now, they can like open it into a new video or new window, and I'm sure at the end, it will probably give them like other things to pick from. But a nice thing is if you do upload your own videos to YouTube, you can select that it's for kids. And if you select that it's for kids, it will make it so if they do have other videos come up, they're like kid videos. And then here's my last one. And here's where I can learn more about reptiles. Now, with this, as you can see, it did open up Safari for me. But since I just stayed there, there is in the upper left corner, I can press seesaw. Or if I just pull up the bottom, seesaw will be there. But in the upper left-hand corner, it can take me back to the thing I was just on. Now, I know that this is kind of like a lot of little steps. It's a lot of different things in there. What I would suggest doing is like the first time I do this with a kid, like I'm going to model, and I probably maybe wouldn't do one that had all of the different slides the first time. I just kind of want to show you the potential of some of the things you can do. Now, I will say that I would either have like a Zoom meeting where I share my screen and show the kids like what they need to do, or I would do an iPad screen recording and talk through what they need to do and share it with them. Like you cannot over give directions. So I would definitely make sure my seesaw activity directions were very clear. I would maybe do an iPad screen recording. I would do a lot of things to try to make sure they understand what they are supposed to do. All right, so I'm gonna click in the upper left-hand corner to go back to seesaw. I'm gonna press the X. And then here I am within my book. I'm gonna draw a picture. There's my mammal. And then, oops, I gotta go back to here. I can tap in here and I can type. Or like Ms. Pinkerman was saying, like you could have it so the background, I mean, technically they can even change their background. So the background was here and they could just write on it, and then I could put this over top of it with the background on it, but since I made it transparent, you can't see it. Now, this is an important thing that is probably a little bit different than if they're just used to doing like one activity per day instead of working on it over a period of time. Now, since they're working on something over a period of time, you want to make sure that they can, that you can see their progress and like they can continue to see their progress and work on it and save their work. Because that's important, especially you don't want them to finish it and then, you know, have nothing. So, and we've talked about this before in some of our other lunch and learns, but that draft button up here is going to be key. And I would maybe, since that's different, since they're probably used to pressing that green check, is I would probably like in my directions, put like stars beside it, make it all capital, and definitely use the icon shortcuts so that way they can see the actual picture. So they need to save it as a draft. So I'm going to press draft. And you can see that since I pressed draft, it makes it so it's visible to the teacher and to the child. So then they can either press edit within their journal, or if they go back to activities, you'll see that it sees that they've started it and have started a response, and they can press edit response and go back to it. So like I said, this activity in my mind would take probably like a week or two. So I would just keep that in there. And so that's less activities for them to have to try to go through. And I've talked about this, let me press draft again. I've talked about this with you guys before, but like trying to think about ways we can make some really meaningful activities and activities that you can have, I think, up to 20 pages in a template. So even if you put all of like, if you want to give cold text, if you make an activity that has like a screenshot of the cold text and have like all of the ones you're going to do, you could do it for the rest of the year if you wanted to. Then they can record themselves trying to read it. They can underline, they can solve the, find the answers. Just trying to find ways not to make it like all of these different tasks, like they can work along something, or just making all of them just like a worksheet. Try to think about, the meaningful things that you have your students do in your classroom. Try to think about how you can make it work in this environment. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. All right, so does anybody, I have my chat pulled up. I know there were a couple of questions I'll answer in a minute. While I'm still in the student side, do you guys have any questions? Or want me to show something? Okay, I guess that's a no. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to reshare my other screen. Let me set up again all of my things. So, all right, so I'm back in as a teacher, and I'm gonna click on activities again. It just kind of needs to update. You can see here, when you go into your activities tab, I can click on this gray bar, and I only assigned it to one person, but you can see the one draft that is there. And so I can click on it. I can show the draft. I can even go in and edit it. So if I wanted to give some feedback within those pages, I could do that. Something that I should have signed in as her, but something that I talked with my mom about, who teaches first grade, is she's made it so there's like one activity for the most part per day, where she's taken, because they're in the transition from packets to more seesaw. And so for that day, she has one assignment, has like copies of all of the different actual sheets that they got. And on the front, like the first slide, has a checklist for the students to be able to or the parents to check off whenever they've completed different things. And then there's also another column where the teacher can put like a sticker or something whenever they've given feedback or seen it. And if they don't complete it all at one time, that draft part is important, so they can keep working throughout the day, pressing draft, and then submit it at the end of the day. So it's just less activities for you to try to filter through. All right, so I'm gonna X out of that and go back to my presentation. So as another review is that, so what I did to create my research board or my choice board is I did that within Google Slides. I started with the templates that I'm gonna share with you whenever you get this slide deck. I published the slides. The slide link I posted as multimedia instructions. And then whenever students get I added a template to it. Whenever students get it, they can access the presentation and they can edit the template that I gave them. So we talked through also like building the activity, and I put in here that you always have to put the choice board in the multimedia instructions / example slot, because you'll want to make sure that you put the template in the template part. So this kind of further tells you where to put things. Now, this link here also gives you the same presentation as before. So it has the template for the beginning, but then there's also some different response options. Like these are just some slides that have just like a camera, or using the microphone to tell about something, especially for the ones that may be like a little bit more non-readers, that they could just take a picture of something, or they could just use their voice to talk about what they learned. So some graphic organizers that in the presentation. Now, a couple of pro tips, and this first one is like the most important. So unfortunately, you cannot just put a link to an actual seesaw activity for students. That get activity link is not for students, it's for teachers. So if you give them that link, it tries to have them like save it and stuff, but it doesn't take them to the actual activity that you have shared with them. Maybe they'll make some update where you can like share it and link the activity to it, but that is not what that will do. So don't try to link the seesaw activities within a choice board using that get activity link, because that does not work. And I've seen not just y'all, but in the, there's a whole lot of like seesaw Facebook groups, and I've seen a lot of people like try to do that, which in theory is a good idea, but that's not what that activity link like works like or is for. So just so you know. Also, don't forget that you can make your own videos, and your own videos are what you can use. Like I said, hopefully one day just playing it once they're in your Google Drive will work, but right now, like they get that error 5. I don't know. It just doesn't like to work. So right now the good solution is to upload it to YouTube as unlisted. And you can either do an iPad screen recording or a QuickTime screen recording, or if you have the video downloaded, you can upload it to YouTube as unlisted. Because then since it's not on like the public channel, it goes around some of those things with the copyrighted work, because it just goes to the students that have the link. So don't forget to record yourself. I mean, you can not even show your face if you don't want to, even though your kids would love to see your face, even if you look a hot mess, because they miss you. Also, at the beginning, talked about those kid-safe search engines. There are a couple of them. These are 3 of them that you could use. And now, so I'm just going to go to this. I see I have a few questions I'm about to talk through. If you have any questions, you can like stick around. If you were not able to sign in at the beginning, this is the bit.ly that you can type in. I will put it in the chat as well. It is all lowercase. Let me put it in. Okay, now let me go look at some of the different things that are here. Yeah, clip grab can be interesting. You do, Sharon, you might want to like double check it sometimes, or like open it on an iPad if you try to do that Google Drive way, just because I've had it work like very rarely. So another suggestion, like, and this is for really more 3-5, but you can have them put like any downloaded videos into a Google Drive folder so they can download it to their device for if they like don't have internet. Also, the meeting the needs of students without internet is also a whole other lunch and learn session. But if you have kids, if you want to set up a time, like I'd be happy to talk through some solutions that you can use to try to meet their needs. Because even though we were, you know, everybody at the beginning was thinking this is going to be very short term, and we're, you know, finishing out the year like this. So just know that like I'm here to help you. So if you want to schedule some one-on-one time with me, if your grade level wants to schedule some time with me, like I'm going to be meeting with St. John's 5K sometime in the near future. like I would be happy to help. I can do just a special school session. Really, like I said, I'm here to help you. So just let me know what I can do to help. So let me go. We already talked about lined paper. So I'm just going to be answering some of these questions, and everybody else through this. If we're done, other than that, make sure you've signed in. That's how you get credit for being here, and that's how I know who to send the resources to. I hope that you learned some good stuff to implement within Seesaw. I've been so impressed by all of the things I've been able to see within Seesaw. Like, y'all are doing great. And like I've always said, progress, not perfection. So just keep trying. Like, we know that there have been some glitches with different things. It's okay. Like, things happen. So just keep doing the best you can and let me know how I can help. You're welcome to stay around for questions, or you're free to go. So I'm going to go through the questions now. All right. It looks like, Courtney, you're...
We got it all taken care of, Hannah. Thank you.
Good. Another thing, like, obviously you'd want to share it to the school and district, but like she said, there is a way for you to filter it. But that share link, like, even if you wanted, if it made it easier, you can actually just put the share link into like a sheet, like a Google sheet, and put those links, because that will help to make it like save. So if you wanted to say, like, for word work on Wednesday, or word work for week whatever, you could just put the activity link there, because that's for teachers. So you could, that could be a way for you guys to share as the school as well. Just a thought. Miss Anderson, once I finish all of these other questions, if you want to, I can walk through the beginning part about creating choice boards again, since you had some issues. I don't mind doing that. Yeah, definitely. I've found a lot of like the teacher side of things just tends to work a lot better unless I'm like annotating on something on my MacBook opposed to my iPad. It just does some different things. So just always, you can try that. Denise, they could technically do that, submit and send back. It could really be either one. I kind of liked the draft feature. I mean, you can send it back. You just have to remember to send it back instead of approve it, because then it gets just funny. So I just kind of like the draft part. And yes, if like this is a Zoom recording, you can add the video and it's a link, so they could technically like click on that. And the shareable link that I share with you guys at the end of this, before I send it, I like trim it to the part where I want them to be able to rewatch. So you could do that too with your kids. And you're all welcome for all of the thank yous. I'm glad you guys choose to come. Any